Depends which side of the street they're on.
This conference will now be recorded.
We'll start this commission meeting with flag salute. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Joe to come today?
I just talked to him this morning. I said, see you after a while.
I meant to go to talk to somebody.
Well, I was running around trying to just get here. I had to go back to Peabody and then back here. So anyway, commission meeting September 27th. Public comments is on the first of our list. Don't see nothing happening on the board.
Yeah, there are no public comments online.
And we have no public in the meeting room this morning, so public comments is out for this first part of the meeting. And we'll move on to agenda approval. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add or change? Hearing none. Uh-oh, Tina? Yes.
Your 1245 citizen concern is not going to be attending. And then I think that you probably are going to need well, I would like to have added a short executive session for non-elected personnel for performance.
And at the end of the meeting?
It doesn't matter, wherever you would like to put that.
Okay. We'll have to have one probably for the health department too, because we'll be discussing some personnel.
So
Personnel performance, so we may just.
you want to do it right after that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, with that being said, no other changes or anything to it. Move into administrative business then.
Well, the computer is just being very helpful today.
Some days they're not, so.
Okay.
Jonah said he'd be a couple minutes late.
Ready?
Hello.
Okay, I'm not quite sure why I can't get the packet to display in the format that I want, but I'll try to just look at it a different way and see if that works.
Tina, we have plenty of time, so. Just,
Looks like it's there.
Okay.
whatever it takes to get it to where
Thank
you want.
you. Well, I do know that we need to approve the minutes of September 20 and September 23rd.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the September 20th meeting as presented.
September 20th?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Dave Mueller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. I move to accept the minutes of September 23rd as presented.
Second.
Second by Dave Mueller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0.
Aye.
5-0.
Talking about the minutes, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Of 23rd, yes.
Yeah.
So we get a 4-0 and a 5-0 to start with.
Okay. Here's, have a couple of salary sheets.
Okay.
Oh, well, you know what? You might need to discuss that first.
Is that-
Those are for the health department. I don't know that you have actually discussed all of that. So we may just,
We do that as part of the health department discussion.
Yes. we
Sorry
can,
about
and then
that.
we can take that, because there's some
I think that you may need to hear a report back
We'll
from
pass things
Christian.
around when it becomes health department and the additional duties of the health department people. So we'll start that at that time. We'll discuss it then.
Okay. I've got the minutes done. We did have a change order for the Nighthawk and 330th project. I think that was in your packet. I can't look at the packet at the moment, but
It was up some, down some, difference about $3,000.
right, and we need to have official approval of that. And this was
Motion to
for,
approve change order number 3.
Let me
Here
have
you
some
go. Here it
discussion
is.
there before this change order. I mean, this is all about the payment stuff, but, what if there's some discussion that needs to be heard before we approve it? Should we do that after, or do that at this time? After we talk to Bryce, was he wanting to have anything else on this, or is this? what-
No.
I just had a
That's the final
question
one.
on that change order number 3.
okay.
Was the increase in oil additional oil or additional cost?
Increased oil.
They increased the oil.
So,
That wasn't the 400,000 though.
That's an additional 80,665.69.
On top of the other one that we started off with.
Yeah, I mean, did we get they charge us more than the contract said, or they used that much more oil? I mean, it's in the contract, we signed a contract that included all of
There
that.
it comes.
Hi.
Ears are burning.
Oh, I heard you talking about it. The change order. What I did with the change order is all the final quantities were adjusted, and I actually made a typed thing here so that we underrun most of the quantities, but the increase in oil was the increase from what was in the contract compared to what Ergon recommended. We talked about that 2 months ago maybe. So that's where that extra cost was. So between the underruns of the quantities and the overrun of oil, it's a net increase of $3,000 for the change order. So then that way the final quantities in the pay app will be the same.
Okay, then is this the underrun and was any of this due to adding on like Peabody Nighthawk that happened?
All that was taken care of by previous change orders.
Okay.
That's why it's taken so long to get here, because we paid for those differently. I sent this to Coughlin last week, and then Tina and her due diligence caught an error, so we got them changed, and they sent it to them last week, and they haven't got it back to us. Otherwise, but they are okay with the numbers as far as the pay app as well as the change order. So.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions on it? Bryce,
Mr. Becker, did you get your question answered?
Yeah.
I don't know if Bryce heard
Yes,
your
yeah,
question.
after I looked at it, I could
Okay.
see that net was the 3,000
Yeah.
something.
And some of the other was underruns.
Yeah.
The only discussion that I have on it, and it's not, Bryce is not supposed to be here, but thank you for coming up and explaining that.
No
Bryce.
problem.
But the only discussion that I have on it is we've got a job out there, and of all the Kansas commissioners, I don't think any one of us would have expected to see a ditch, the ditch is like they left them.
Oh, yeah,
And
sure.
And-
We've talked about this before, and there's so many things that we can do.
Right, but
Different next
but
time.
I'm saying though, in our contract, we signed the contract, even whether it includes the ditches, whether it don't include the ditches, but there's not a commissioner that would sign a contract and expect to get the final job that we got, with the ditches being all the slough in them and stuff like that, because it's something that I didn't expect it. I know that how's my mower's gonna go down the road and mow that ditch from now. You put a tire off in that stuff and you're gonna go right down the bottom of the ditch because it's not compacted, it's not, nothing done to it. I guess, outright, what's it worth? Well, it must have bothered you enough after we talked about it that you went up there and spent 2 days with a lot of guys, a lot of crew, and picked up a lot of material, only on 2 miles, correct? Well,
No, we did the whole job.
oh, you did the whole thing?
Yeah, we didn't do all of it. Some places where we did blade, some of it, we got majority of it.
Oh, okay, I thought there was only 2 miles done, but okay. But what do you think that cost us?
I had Terry looking it up before and I didn't bring it up. I can get you the exact number, but,
Neighborhood.
oh, maybe $10,000-12,000.
Yeah, okay, I was looking 10-12 for 2 miles, but you're looking at 4 or 5 days.
Yeah,
4 or 5.
I mean, I like I said, I can get it to you when we
Yeah.
put that together, but.
Well, what if I multiplied that times 13 to 15 more? That cost
Sure.
to do that, to get it to looking nice, and that was done before the chip and seal was done down and everything. And I'm just wondering if we should hold that amount of money, because that's what it's gonna cost us to do it sometime, if we're gonna ever do it, to clean it. I don't know if there's anything I can even do that.
But
I can
don't-
bring it up to
Yeah.
everybody's attention that, you know, they really provided us a job that they didn't tell us about.
Well, I mean, I knew in the back of my mind we were gonna have some extra material. I didn't think, again, gonna be that much without widening the road and creating an extra, area for that. I can tell you the next time that, when we do a project, that will be addressed. I mean, that's all I can say right now.
Right.
And to say the material out there is wasted or whatever else, I mean, there's things that we can do, granted, wasn't planned on or whatever else is, but, I think when we get enough moisture on those shoulders and the grass starts coming back and everything else, it's gonna make a big difference. Now, there's things we can go back and obviously fix. There's areas down there that have way too much material. We were also very careful not to do that in front of people's houses
Right.
that mow right up to the edge of the road, so we stay away from that. But honestly, to hold the money back from them, I don't know if you really can if it wasn't specifically addressed in the contract.
Have to read the whole thing just to give you an idea of whether we would be able to or not.
I guess my comment would be if you're gonna, it would have been included with the contract, you would have been paying more for the contract.
If
To have,
Well-
if you're gonna have the contractor clean up the excess material, they would have charged for it. In our case, the county cleaned up the excess material,
Yeah.
so we saved that money on the contract.
No,
No.
wrong.
Okay.
Well, no,
The
no.
engineer-
I'm saying that a contractor should have never even, I don't think a contractor would ever do that. I mean, I think they should have either packed the shoulders, either run it, pack it before, if they was gonna have that kind of overrun.
Well,
Or something.
again, if it was not specifically addressed, most contractors wouldn't do that. Now, what he's saying is if we say, okay, when we're done, you specifically have to do this and this and this with shouldering, then he's correct, they would have put more money in there to take care of those additions. Like I said, in hindsight,
How much more money do we spend for wasted material? I mean, this is where I'm coming off on your side of things and understanding what you're saying, because if you have wasted material and you're being billed for it, which is better, to have them clean up or have wasted material?
Well, my thought is, it's not wasted material. It can still be used. The stuff that we talked about at Tampa, we've talked about using that for shouldering, that properly mixed and whatever else. The material down there that's on, Nighthawk and 60th is not wasted either. It's just gonna, whatever we do to, recover it or whatever else.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still our material, any way you look at it, wherever
We're
it
just
may
gonna pick
be.
it out of the ditch.
Yeah,
Rather than
or,
having it delivered by a truck.
yeah, or take it from where it is and feather it into the ditch, or whatever the case may be. So,
Isn't some of that, there's some of those issues on 330th too, isn't there?
I think it's pretty much addressed.
no, it's,
Exactly, no.
330th isn't near as bad.
No.
Because obviously we took care of a lot of the
Right.
material, but, that's, like I said, as far as waste material, it's still
There
there.
was ditches up there that they wanted to address on 330th when we did it. I mean, they wanted to widen it out in a few places for that
Yeah.
and stuff. Maybe that's where they use most of it at.
Well, and again, it comes down to the fact is, I think that material will be, very usable if and when we get some moisture to it down the road and get some grass in there, stuff like that. I mean,
But it just, I can see a tractor trying, we can't mow, we can't do nothing with it. I mean, right now, you can't,
Well,
you got nothing with it. It's gotta be-
right, but the other thing is, you're not really gonna be mowing much there now because there's no grass there either. But down the road, like I said, I think it will, level out or whatever else, but,
Well, I was ready to make a motion to withhold 75,000 or so, but, if commission's not willing to, I'm just pointing it out. It's something that was, I don't know whose fault it was.
I think if it wasn't addressed in the contract, I don't think we can.
Yeah.
It depends. The contract's 101 element of this, you guys have gotten to hear of things like force majeure before, so these are other terms of art.
Yeah.
The Four Corners Doctrine means whatever we wrote in that contract is what we live by. That's the general standard. There are, however, some broader warranties that are always in place on any kind of a commercial contract. Doing a job in a workmanlike manner. If you go in and hire someone to paint your car, if it doesn't remotely match, even though they did a good job with the general paint job, they didn't do it in a workmanlike manner, and even though it doesn't say it will match in the contract, that's assumed. Here, if under normal practice, in terms of a construction contract like that, and Bryce would know that far better than I would, they allude to that in some fashion that we will do all of this in a workmanlike manner, and picking up debris or that kind of excess is the norm, then yeah, we can hold them to it whether it's in that contract or not. However, I'm guessing that if this was contemplated in any way, shape, or form, that there's going to be excess potentially, and we didn't address it, then we'd have a little more of an uphill. I just have to read it and see what was contemplated and see what the terms of art usually in that type of a construction contract on roadways would be.
I can tell you on the way back from the main conference last week, I did go through a project in Wabunsee County that was being done by a different contractor, and they even widened out the road in places, and they still had the same issue of extra material out the side, so.
It's just
Yeah.
a process.
I just don't, I can't buy it, Bryce. I mean, there's no way that the contractor just comes out here and especially after I hear the Brown County up there, the guy that I called says, well, they cut too much slough off. Is that when that stuff got out there, is when they cut it to build the crown?
Well, I guess what's your definition of cut too much material? We said we wanted to go back and profile mill to 2%, and again, due to
That's when they got the extra material off.
Yeah.
That 2%.
Well, for the most part, yeah.
Well, that's what the same engineer up in Brown County said.
Yeah.
Same thing, too.
Now again, that's something that we can address in the future on projects, whatever else. But due to the variability of what we were working with out there, it's tough to just hold that. It's going to be perfect, but.
I've said my piece, and that's good. I'm done. I won't make the motion. Like I said, I don't. But
Well, do you think if we would withhold some, it would actually force them to come clean some of it up? I mean, otherwise,
I doubt
we're just gonna be hearing from their attorney.
Typically, that's why you always have retainage.
Yeah, we didn't have none on this, did we?
Well, the contract says we would, but we actually didn't do it that way, I don't
Oh, there's
believe.
enough left there, got old retainage.
think it said that. I think I just saw that.
10%? 5?
I think it was 5.
They did a liquidated damages clause too for 1,000 a day, but that's gonna be on different applicability factor.
Yeah, it says, if the work has been 50% completed, if character and parts of the work have been and remain satisfactory, owner may reduce retainage to 5% on current and remaining after 50%.
So there's a higher retainage potential, where's that?
Well, even if we, what my problem is, Kent, is how do you get on there and do it now with our new road without hurting the road? That's why
I
I
mean,
say.
you have to do it, the ditch, in the ditch, I guess.
And it becomes a real hard thing to even do.
Tear out more than do good.
Well, that's what I'm worried about. I don't want to hurt the road.
Well, how are we gonna get it out then without tearing up the road?
Well, I think there's things we can do. We can actually work on it from the top of the road, as long as you're not turning and spinning and everything else up there. Do it in the wintertime when it's cooler. It's not gonna be affected too much. We can go down through the ditch. You know, we can blade it into a windrow more down the bottom. I mean, there's numerous ways to work on it. That's the last thing I'm gonna do is go tear up the road too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
I mean, that defeats the whole principle, but.
Well, I guess maybe when you talk to him, you can tell him that one commissioner was upset with the final product.
Well, and again, I mean, you're just, that's, like I said, all things considered, in the future, that will be specifically addressed, and so.
Well, if we don't think they did it in a workmanlike fashion, why don't we withhold X number of dollars and see what their comment is? We can always pay them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with my original motion to go ahead and approve the change order of $3,000.
Okay.
The other thing, after this, we'll go ahead and clear that motion first.
Okay.
Second,
Okay. Second by Dave Mueller. All those in favor of doing the change order approval, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay, the second thing is I would like to see a 10% retainage until we have time to.
The way they have worded this, 90% with balance being retainage, so 10% of the actual cost to contractor of materials and equipment not yet incorporated in the work but delivered, suitably stored, and accompanied by satisfactory documentation as required under 13.1 of the general conditions. And then at the point where the 90% of the work is completed with the balance being retainage, if the work has been 50% completed, the owner may reduce to 5% the current remaining progress payments for retainage. So, and it's may, it doesn't say shall, so I think you're still in a position where you can hold the 10 if you want to do that.
What's 5% of this project?
150,000, well, it's over that, but I mean.
Yeah, you've got a $2,653,500 total.
Well, I was
Actually, that's
looking
not
at- I was
correct.
looking at
The
the
total
total
contract
project.
is now $3,300,060.
I was looking at
It's
this
starting to add up.
total project.
Well, we had that $500,000 change order for more
Yeah,
materials.
just some names, yeah.
I'll just put a motion out there then to withhold 5%, and I'm trying to think of how to word it though.
Just be approval of payment with retainage of 5% or whatever you want.
Randy, do you want strangers to come in and pick that up? They don't care about our roads? Our crew would care about the roads when they pick it up. I mean, you might be creating more problems.
Well, then we get into a damages situation.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
So
And how do you fix the road after they damage it?
they won't want to damage it.
Yeah, but these are people from out of town.
Oh, I
To come in and do
understand,
something
Dave.
as
I
quick as
understand
possible.
what the things is.
Yeah.
That's 5%.
5%, $165,000.
I mean, in our business, we chalk this up as an education, because this was a new process, is that right? And we learned something here. We know what to do next time. I have a big education from our business. We've made several mistakes over the years.
Well,
Well-
if we deem that to not be in a workmanlike fashion,
I mean, what does people think of our road going down and see all that? I mean, I don't drive down any road anywhere else and see that done like this. I mean, I see it where they at least slope it, they pack it, and do something with it. And this outfit didn't care to even do that, or you know, I don't know where they could have with those rollers that they had. I doubt that.
Well, no, the only thing they could have done would have been bladed. But if you're gonna request to add shoulders, I mean, to stabilize shoulders, or else I guarantee it's gonna cost a considerable amount of money. Cause that's very high priced work to specialized equipment, small equipment, things like that. And it wasn't specifically addressed, so.
Well, I'm just bringing it up. I'm really, because I know what's going to happen. You send a mower down that road, mower's going to fly and hit gravel, tear. I mean, it's going to. And then there's weeds already growing right through it, so it's going to grow right back out. And I understand what you're saying there on that, Bryce. But no, I'll drop. I've had enough discussion about it.
can we run a blade down it and do any good?
Sure. No problem.
Where are you going to go with it, though, Bryce?
Well, I'm just saying, you know, we can blade it out to where it's a flatter slope, which will in turn will help down it. But again, what would help immensely is to put water on it, or wait till this fall when we get more moisture next spring, whatever the case may be, because that's part of the thing now. It's just very dry and fluffy. But like I said, you know, you look at all the other roads we've rebuilt, and the grass comes back, and eventually Mother Nature will take care of itself. But yeah, we could send a blade down there, because they wouldn't even have to have their blade on the new pavement. They could just send out to the side and blade it down to whatever they want to. If there was in extra spots where there's extra material where to fill up the ditch, that's where we could remove that. But in Nighthawk and 330 aren't near the issue. I mean, we definitely have some issues down on 60th because we didn't have as much right of way to work with.
I guess if that stuff is not a detriment to the road itself as far as holding moisture or anything like that, you know, the big thing is public perception. Like you said, you drive down it, you see it.
More people say we waste a lot of money.
That
All
was
in
the
the
big
ditch.
thing. That was the
And
first
so
thing.
that's just what I'm wondering, if we can do something, you know, with the equipment we've got.
There's no payout for this meeting, is there?
No.
So.
But
I'm
I
not
do
gonna
need-
worry about my change part right now, so.
Yeah, I'm willing to move it on down the road and let it go, but we've got to do a better job of preparing ourselves for something here.
And the provisions are in here. I haven't seen all the general contract documents, just what they reference, but contractors visited the site and is familiar and satisfied with general local and site conditions that may affect cost, progress, furnishing, or performance of the work. So there's an acknowledgement in a number of these locations, and that's one of the general workmanlike conditions. And then the other, if and as indicated in the contract documents, contractor is aware of the general nature and extent of work to be performed by owner or others as said work relates to the work under these conditions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they reference it. So those things are there if you want to raise them. But again, it's going to come down to what's normal. In a case like that, would it be expected that that would be specified and made a part of the agreement itself so that cost would be incorporated into that as a factor? Or is it no, we did what we said we would in the contract documents. We prepared a road, and any of that excess, while it may look bad to you or it may not be what you want, no one told us that you were going to expect us to do that either.
Now we are waiting for their signed agreement to that, which again, because of the year, I haven't got that back. So we could address it again Thursday if you
Yes.
wanted to during the pay period. So.
Because it notes in there that we have the right, after inspection, to raise any of those kinds of issues. So if you still want to raise it, I mean, now would be the time.
One reason why I'm doing this too, Bryce, is we've talked about, Dave Mueller's talked about, let's do a road, let's do it right. And I think that's what all 5 of us commissioners want. And so, if this is an eye-opening experience, as Dave Crowfoot says, we gotta open our eyes a little more then. I didn't expect to see anything like this, even though this guy that I called about this company That was the guy who always said, well, they cut too much off. If you remember what I said,
Mhm.
that they cut too much off, and he didn't say, he didn't tell me what to look like.
Didn't know where it went.
Where, you know, I just thought they packed it or did something. I thought when they said cut too much off, get to like, I don't know, what's the slope supposed to be, 2%?
2%.
I thought maybe they got down to 5 or 6%.
Oh, no, you'll never get that much for a
Yeah.
solid surface road, but we have talked about, a lot of the people that come out to visit said they would probably push more for a 2.2 or 2.5% slope, just to make sure that you're getting the water off there, because what happens, the flatter the road, traffic goes on, it flattens up. In this case here, we had inverted crown in some places, so that's what happens there, but anyway. But anyway, if that's what you wanna do, we can.
Well,
touch base on.
we can do it. I may not be here Thursday. I haven't figured that out yet, so that'll be up to the rest of the commission probably Thursday. I don't think I will be. I think I'll probably be on the road towards going south. But anyway, like I said, we got a lot of roads coming up to rebuild and
Yeah.
to do it. We want to make sure we cover the bases.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hockey, could you please sign that change order? and
Yes.
hand it back?
This one, so 2.
Thank you. I didn't have anything else on my list for administrative.
All right.
That's exciting. Yeah, Raul.
Yes. Isaac?
Good afternoon.
Yes, it is. What's Isaac know? Whole bunch.
Okay.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So I'll start with some of the smaller things. We did get a response from the city of Florence as far as our contract for the trash service out there at the lake. They did increase their price this year from last year. So last year, the way that it was set up, we were paying $495 a month, April through September, so throughout the busy season, and $137.50 a month from October through the following March. This year, well, for this upcoming year, looks like they're wanting to start October 1st. It would have increased to $849.90 a month from April through September, and then $141 a month October to March.
Do you really need 30 dumpsters during the summertime?
So we do not run 30 dumpsters.
Is that what they said?
Up to 30.
Oh, up to-
It's up to 30.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and it kind of depends. I know that we have 30 dumpsters out at the lake. Majority of the time they sit over at our shop.
Yeah.
We do bring out extra dumpsters for the Bluegrass Festival, certain things like that. Chili Cook-Off will bring out a couple extra dumpsters. But for the rest of the summer, we never have the full 30 dumpsters sitting out at the lake. We normally will run about maybe 18 to 20.
So I think previously you had agreed to just go ahead and renew with the city for 1 year so that you could go get bids before the next time. And so when he notified them, they came back with this.
What was we paying for the off months before?
So the off month was $137.50, so that went up $2.50. The big increase there would have been the main season, which went from that 145 up to 945 up to 849, and that was the big increase.
945.
From 495.
495, sorry.
495, yeah.
I was
I was
gonna
gonna
say,
say,
495 to 849.
Can't
Yeah.
read your writing, huh?
Think there's anything we can do about it till next year and get bids?
Yeah.
We just need to make sure we do it
Before.
90 days out or whatever.
I have my calendar marked.
Everybody okay with that? Okay. Thank you.
I believe we're gonna need an official vote to approve the agreement, and then you all will sign.
Okay, and make that motion to go with the city of Florence's offer here at those prices we just quoted. $50 payment is, so that's late fees, okay? Yeah, make that motion, go ahead with the fees that they've got in their letter here for the Marion County Lake.
Second.
Second by Dave Mueller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, 5-0. Nothing staying the same anymore, it always goes up.
Fuel price is 3 times higher than it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Find anybody to know it's 3 times higher than it was.
Yeah. I don't know.
Makes it even more of an adventure.
Just trying to get it on silent. Forgot to do that. Okay. What else you got?
Okay, so next I have the repair estimates from Brian Severin. They're with Sustainable Environmental Consultants. They're the ones that did the inspection on the dam. At the request of the commission, they went ahead, they came out, they gave us 3 estimates from minimum to maximum. On this packet here, after he did this, he came and we talked in the office for about 4 hours. He tried to explain some things to me, just try to make it as clear as possible what the differences are from the minimum to the maximum, their plans about going about it, all of that stuff. On the very first, well, it's actually page 3, he talks about, yeah, the construction estimate assumptions, and this was something we talked about, and he said, you can see there on the bullet points, he had a little bit concerns with the pillars on that side of the dam, working around those pillars. In these estimates, he said if, he doesn't think they're gonna have to be, but if they have to remove them or repair them or whatever, that is not included in any of these estimates. He said hopefully that's not gonna be an issue, but that was something he did want to point out. Well, pretty much just, my plan is just to go through here, try to explain them as best as I possibly can. Brian did say if the commission has any further questions or there's something that I'm not able to provide to anyone, let him know and he will make an effort to come in here and answer any questions that we might have. He said that should not be a problem at all. The minimum repair here, they would just be focusing on the areas that have erosion. Pretty much they'd go back in, reshape those eroded areas. They'd go back in with a geotextile. It's like a material that they lay down, cover that material with rock, cover that with soil and reseed. For those 10 areas on the repairs there, Tina, on page 4, they have the repairs of those slips, reshaping the diversion brim there, replacing the outlet pipes, and reseeding everything. We're looking at $83,900. That would be for the minimum. The next repair would be your medium repair, and this was a little drawing we put together. I'll let you just pass all the way. Take one and pass one of those on. It kind of gives you a visual of what they're planning on doing here. And I just drew this morning, so it's not professional.
Not too per scale.
Yeah. But what they're looking at doing, the big difference is that point A on page 4. They would actually make a trench along that top section of the downward slope of the dam from one end all the way to the other. So they would be redoing that whole section there. Their plan was to get around those dam pillars as he would start over there at the shop. They'd build a little platform up there at the top, and they would just run equipment on that little brim that they cut out there. And so they dig that out. They do the exact same thing on the minimum repair, except to the entire backside of the dam. So they would come back in with that geotextile material, put that down, re-rock it, re-soil, reseed. And then the other two things that would be included in there would be reshaping that brim and reinstalling those outlet pipes there. So the big difference here is instead of just focusing on the points that have already eroded, they would just go ahead and do the entire backside on that upper portion of the dam there. And for that medium repair, you're looking at about $142,450. And then the last one, which was the maximum repair, would be pretty much exactly what the medium repair would be. They'd go ahead and cut out that top thing, re-soil it. But on page 6, yeah, they have this material. It's called Fleximat. And he put a link here. We were looking at it in the office. Pretty much what it is it's two big canvas, it's like a woven material, and inside of it, it's almost like a concrete pillow. And it comes in these huge rolls, and they roll it along the whole backside of the dam, from the top to the bottom. And then you just cover that up with your soil material and reseed. And that concrete pillow material is supposed to hold everything in. And that, he said, it's something, it's new, it's highly used, but it's expensive. So you can tell just the pricing of that material alone would be $340,000. For the total maximum repair, about $404,000. And that would do everything the medium repair does, plus put this mat down over the remainder portion of the entire backside of the dam there.
Would that go from the toe of the dam all the way to the top?
So what that would do is it would go from the top of the dam, from the pillars, all the way down to that first brim.
Down to here?
Yes, correct. Down to that very first step. As of right now, and from everything that they have seen, there is not a single issue with that bottom part of that brim. There's nothing of concern, no types of I guess, erosion or anything like that. The big concern is from the pillars down to that brim and just resurfacing that brim out to the proper slope, so the water drains off there the way they want it to. He did kind of, not emergency level, but he did, and he has this down here, he did say, they would like to get something moving forward as quickly as possible, because the next step, it sounds like, is going to be kind of a waiting game. So we're down here on the project timeline. They did their inspection, submitted that to the state. So now they have to get the drawing, the plan, everything to go back in with repairs to resubmit that into DWR. And he said the wait on the approval for that has been anywhere from about 6 to 8 months. 6 months on the very quick side, 8 months more of an average. They said if they can get everything turned in and things moving forward, they would like to get the project submitted by February, and then that would give them hopefully a chance to start construction summer of next year. And that's kind of what they're hoping for on a timeline there. But those three options were pretty much, you know, what they recommended. It's hard to say. You know, I tried to talk to him about if they had preferences or recommendations. And like he said, you know, medium, they're not really concerned about anything under, right on the backside of those pillars. Pretty much from the backside of those pillars down 10 feet is our problem area. Everything else is fine. The only problem with the brim is that material that washed out from that upper area washed down to that brim area. That's the only reason that they're having to do any work that low on the dam. He said, really, you know, if you did just the minimum, you might never have to worry about it again. He said if you had some type of event like that, there might be some other areas up there on that upper portion that could do the same thing in a couple of years. But you just don't know. It could last another 50 years without any problems.
Just wonder if a curb up on the top would help take the water to the other side, back into the dam, instead of going down the backside.
You know, that dam's been there for how many years?
Since 30, I think the dam portion was completed in 37.
So, a long time. There's never been an issue like that before, and I'm sure we have had those kind of events in the past. A couple comments from people, and I didn't know that, but had that backside been getting sprayed?
Not the backside. So, and that was something I talked to Terry Medley about, the guy with the state when he was out there. So we had, and as far as I know, it's always been done, sprayed the top. So there you have about a foot of material from the roadway to the end of that pillar there, the start of the pillars there. We had sprayed that area. As far as the backside, downslope, no. The only thing that we've ever done to that backside downslope is they recommended that we go through every year, get rid of any type of woody material. So if you have like a tree growing
I'm
up,
just
something
thinking,
like
you know,
that.
I don't know if you sprayed it or if the weed department did.
Both.
Because I know if the weed department sprayed it, if they went along there with their sprayer, that would have gone down quite a bit farther.
Long ways.
Yeah. Well, and so, and talking with Terry there at the state, because I asked him about it, you know, if it caused it, and like he said, you know, kind of laughed and he said it definitely doesn't help, but he said the dam slope, like he said, it's just a lot steeper than it needs to be. It's not even close to up to any type of modern day code, but when it was built, it was up to code. And he just said over time, and you can see it on the backside of those pillars, there's little just cuts where that water's ran off, and he said, you know, we just had enough rain mixed in with the wind that
So it just took 90 years or whatever.
Yeah, well, and like you said, obviously the spraying, it doesn't help. But he said, if you didn't have the event that we had, we would have never had an issue.
I was just thinking we should never
do
spray any foliage on the south side.
Yeah, we discussed that, and we can weed eat it, do whatever we need to do, but yeah.
This little drawing you give us here, they're gonna go in and cut this down 5 foot, and then you put this, what is that, rocks in there, or what?
Yeah, so what it would be, and that was kind of what he was showing me to how they could get around working from above and trying to reach over those pillars.
Okay.
So he would start, you know, like where the shop is at, and they'd almost make a roadway, dig a roadway up the top of that dam there, and work from the side of the dam instead of over on the top. And then they put, it's called geotextile material, and it's almost like a canvasy cloth that holds that soil in. They put that down, and then on top of that they would put rock, and then on top of that rock they would resoil and reseed.
Okay.
Yeah, and that would be the design that he recommended going with. But he said if they could get that, then that would avoid them having to try to work over those pillars from the top of the dam.
So this is just their recommended design and their engineer's estimate of cost, right?
Correct.
So depending on which option you all go with, they would actually design?
Yes, they would have to go back in and he would have to do a full plan of repair and what they're wanting to do. And then once they are done with that, they would have to submit that in the DWR for approval.
And once it's approved, then that would go out to contractors to be able to bid on the work?
Correct, that is correct, yes. That would be
So
the
this-
steps moving forward.
So these figures aren't really set in stone.
No, and that's just it. They're not, and like Brian said, as far as everything that they do, it would be very similar. He said, like, he has these estimates here, everything would be receipted and presented to the county. So if they save money somewhere, so would we. But yeah, this is not any type of set in stone number by any means.
So where would we have funding from other than the general fund?
Risk management possibly would be appropriate. I mean, we don't have
That,
quite that much, but between general fund and risk management.
Typically, I'm not in favor of ever doing the bare minimum, but on this one, I'm afraid if they go in digging, start doing something, they find something, here comes another change order, here comes something else, here comes something else.
you're right, once you start digging into something.
It could turn into a rabbit hole, maybe we just put
Yeah.
it back and hope for another 90 years.
And I was gonna say, and if you guys want Brian to come in here before we make a decision, I can get him in here as well.
I think
It's completely
I
up to
think
you.
it's pretty
Pretty black and
Under-
white.
pretty well put
Yeah.
together. I
You've
don't-
done a good job
I'd-
explaining it. It's just a matter of which approach.
I kinda agree with Jonah. I think if we get digging and you got engineers involved, if you're gonna have change orders.
I just, knowing the age of it, yeah, just,
You know, I'd almost like that number two, to do the whole dam. That's-
But what we're saying is, if they get carving that all out, they're gonna find some other
Oh, yeah.
stuff. It's just almost, you know,
as old as that damn
It's
is,
almost
might find
given.
dinosaurs.
It's going from 140 to 200. And there's no government programs to save the dam.
Not,
no, this one's on us.
yeah, Randy and I have looked and with it being county
Even
owned,
though it's
that's,
100 years old, but
yeah.
it's no historical.
The pillars are historical.
Yeah.
So we break one, then we get that fixed.
We don't know how the dam's built either, do we?
Well, we have all the original blueprints. We do have that. And that was all and I have them electronically too. And we turned that over to these, well, I gave them a copy of it. I have it in my office still, but we gave them a copy to look at before they even did their inspection. But I do have that in my office.
Well, what I was referring to is what Jonah's talking about there, is if anything's laid underneath there years ago that we would turn up or upset or
8
do
foot
something.
down, there's big boulders in there.
Well, yeah, I
little
don't,
rocks.
yeah, just wondering how, I don't know what they made it out of, whether it's all dirt dam or. you know.
Dirt and everything that came with it.
Yeah,
It's probably quite a bit of rock being from that area.
Trees and rocks.
yeah.
Yeah, glass, rough iron,
Yeah, shh.
old buggies.
Shh, this is the reason why I'm thinking the bare minimum.
Ask us.
What you don't know, you don't know.
Is there any other discussion about which plan to go to that anybody wants to talk about?
I think we probably all can agree that the most expensive one is off the table.
Yeah.
I don't like that design either, but that flex mat, it's not needed, it's not worth doing that. I would think one or minimum or medium would be a good approach. They do better than the flex mat.
And the rest of the dam on farther down looks
Yeah.
stable.
Yeah,
Great.
down from the first little brim or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it there's no signs of anything. No kind of erosion, nothing like that. And down on the bottom side, And, you know, we talked about what material was used for that. On the bottom side, you can still see a lot of the original rock that was put in. On the top side there, you can't. I mean, there you can walk the whole thing and you won't step on any or feel any rock at all. Supposedly that's what's underneath the soil there. But even in the spots that have eroded out, you don't see any rock down underneath the erosion slides. It just looks like it's soil.
It's way down there.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it must be, but even where it has eroded, you can't see anything. And so that's kind of like what we were talking about. Down below, you can see still, and I mean, there's some really big boulders down there, but up top, there's not. And Brian said the same thing that Dave said here, is that, that Fleximat material, it is overkill. You know, there's really, it's just, yeah, and that's why it was the maximum. You know, he said it would be some extra protection, but he said there's really nothing from him looking at it that says, yeah, you know, this really needs this. It's just, if they decided to do a minimum to a maximum, and then that's very true, that maximum, I wouldn't think there'd be any need to go to that length to repair that backside.
I think a key element there is once that's fixed, is gonna be, the vegetation is gonna have to hold.
Come back.
Because
Yeah.
you just got an
absolutely
angle
critical.
there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the
And
critical.
it's steep. It's steep. And that was kind of, and that's going to be another thing between that minimum and maximum, or minimum and medium, is if they do the medium, they will be working from the top side, because they would not be building that road along the backside there. They would just be reaching over the pillars to do work on the erosion areas. So that would be kind of the one big difference there. And like it says, you know, there are 10, they're evenly spaced from one side to another. They would probably end up doing a little under 50. I mean, some of those slides are wide. I mean, it would probably be 35 to 40% of the dam with that minimum, which is why the medium is not all that much. I mean, it's less than twice the price. Just because the majority of it has some type of erosion already on that top side.
Those figures that we see there, the 83 and then the 142, on down there they showed you what it costs for meetings and mileage, but that figure there that 83,000, if it's the lower one, or 142, that will include anything they would do unless something popped up.
Yes, that would include all of their engineering fees,
All that.
their estimation on construction side, construction price, and just all the work included to do it. You know, and that's, and he did say, you know, it could be less, it could be more. And he said once they actually go in and do up their main estimate drawings, all that stuff, he said they could probably get a little closer to what it's going to take. But that price does include all their engineering costs and all of that, yes.
Do they do any drilling, core sampling before they start all this? See those big rocks down there?
Will they or have they?
Well, either.
I don't know.
I mean, you said those big boulders at the bottom, would there be big boulders at the top too?
Looking at the drawings, there should be the original one somewhere up there. But we didn't see anything.
Yeah.
Commission, I think we have two choices here, what we're talking about, either the light or medium. 80 or 145. 85 or 145 roughly, high figures there. Do I hear any motions? Or is this a discussion later, or any more facts that we can bring? Anything?
So the medium price one, they would not touch the pillars up above.
No,
With the cheaper price, they might destroy one or two in the process.
they would be working from, as of now, their plan would be if they did that minimum, they would be working from above, because they would not, they would not be making that roadway across the entire backside. They would just be focusing on the areas that have those erosion issues. And you know, the other thing is, which a lot of that material that has slid down, it does now have some type of vegetation growing from it. But that was the other conversation him and I had, because they're talking about this whole process moves forward, no work until next summer. Well, what was gonna happen between now and next summer? That was my big question for them, was concerns, let's say we get another 4 or 5 inch rain, is that just gonna make it worse or what?
You can plant some grass.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that was kind of it. He said, you know, as long as you can get some vegetation growing on it, it should help. But there is always a risk of something else happening between now and then with rain. So that's kind of like you said, the sooner we can get things going, kind of the better, because it is going to take a while before actual construction will begin.
I'm not hearing no motions.
I'll make a motion.
So I guess I'm gonna ask, what is the request for action? Is the request to have SEC proceed with option 1, 2, or 3? Is that the motion?
Yeah, I would think that we need to know which way we want to go, unless we want to take a look at financing first before you, or you just want to take it like from a risk management? Or do you think a loan for that, or?
We can handle it, most of it from risk management. If we have to dip into the general fund a little bit, I wouldn't want to use all the general fund. I'll make a motion, we go with the option number 1, with the funding to come out of risk management and general fund if needed.
Okay. Have a motion on the floor by Kent to go with option number 1.
I'll second.
Second by Dave Mueller. And the funding, would you say 75-25 maybe, or?
Well, I think we need to look and see where we're at in risk management and what
Okay.
we may have coming up.
Okay.
That we're gonna need some more from risk management.
Okay. Does everybody understand that? Okay. So the motion's on the floor, Dave Mueller second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, 5-0.
Dave dug that up and find a dinosaur bone.
Don't dig. Don't dig.
Isaac, does he prepare that request for bid? Does he prepare that request for bid?
He said that he can. He said if we would like him to, that he can do that. Or if he wants to turn it over to us and we do it, then we can do it.
Given he prepared the plans, it's probably gonna be better to let him do that.
Yeah.
Getting into technicalities there that.
Yeah, and that's, he said if we knew somebody or we had somebody that we wanted to do the work or wanted to give a chance to bid the job to, then we could do that. But he said if we want to let them handle it, then he can
At
do
least
that.
if they do the specs on it, we
Yeah,
know that.
yeah.
Based upon what they've recommended you and you've adopted, we've got it accurately displayed.
You can still point on local and then
Yeah.
direction.
Yeah.
And then it's not a conflict of interest.
Okay.
Okay. Is that the direction you needed, Isaac?
Yep.
Okay.
That'll work. The very last thing I have, and we've talked about this before, I spoke with, well, I'll give you guys a little update too. I spoke with Cody this morning in regards to the heated dock. That new pad was poured, everything's ready to go there. It sounds like the 4th, not this week, but next week. I know Cody has some material showing up on site, and the guys from Missouri are supposed to be showing up with the floats framework and decking. So it sounds like all of that will be coming out to the lake next week. I've talked to Cody, I've talked to a couple people. I know Cody had been working with this company over here in Missouri, and we had talked about a dock overhang at one point. So they've been working together. Cody called me this morning, and they've come up with a plan. He said that they can do it for about $2,500 a side. Initially, they were looking at about $10,000, but there is another way that they can do that and do it safely for $2,500 a side. talking with him and the company from Missouri highly recommends that we do it for a couple of different reasons. And the main ones being safety, in case of rain, because they do not, as of now, they don't have plans to have guttering on the roof. It was kind of the way it was, it all ran off into the water. In case of snow or rain or anything like that, all that material up there will be going straight down onto the walkway. Which you have a lot of people out there, whether it is raining or not. And then the other thing is just lifetime on that outside walkway, just to keep that material off of there. I talked to Cody, he said either way, they can do it or not do it, but they had come up with that second option, which was substantially cheaper than the initial estimate that he gave me.
So how are they planning on doing it from the ends?
So, and that would be a little different. So what they'd be doing on the east and the west side is they would just be kind of upgrading their bracing where the handrails would go, and the roof would just fully extend, be one piece all the way out. And then they would just extend that lengthwise extra on the, I guess you want to call it the north and south side.
So $2,500 per side, so if you do $5,000
Yeah.
for both sides, you get the east and west with that?
With that, correct.
That's a good thing.
And talking to Cody, he said it would, they have that money in contingency. There was a couple of things that they saved quite a bit of money on from his original estimate, so it wouldn't require a change order, it wouldn't require anything like that. It would just come from contingency.
In light of the price and the safety considerations, that's enough to do it.
It's lifetime, doing something, do it right.
What about that extra material, are we still trying to sell it, or?
And we've been kind of, I've been kind of standby on that. I know we discussed it.
Pay for the.
I was gonna build him a shed.
Oh, there you go.
But we do still have that material for whatever we want to do with it.
Did you move it?
We have not moved it yet. I think we have an area that we've been getting ready to try to make room for it. And I think we'll have that over there at the shop that we can just haul it across the dam. But, no.
Why don't we just sell it right there?
Well, and if we did sell it, I mean, might as well. Before
Put it on the Purple Wave or something? I don't know where you advertise
Each
it.
one of them, and just set them around the park, put canopies, so that way when it rains, people go hide under the canopies.
All right, to get back to the topic, I would make a motion that we do the overhang on the north and south sides for $5,000.
See that east and west side?
The whole thing, the whole perimeter.
Yeah.
North and south.
No, the whole perimeter
For
for
5,000. Both sides would get us the ends.
Little veins.
I'd second that motion.
Is that for a maximum of $5,000?
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed $5,000?
Dave?
Okay.
nickel and dime.
I would leave
5,000,
I'd second that motion. Dave, you made the motion not exceed 5,000 for to extend the roof out over to and encompass the whole size of the whole walkway, all four sides in, but at a total cost of not to exceed 5,000. All those in favor of that motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign? None. 5-0. Keep it going, Isaac.
That was it for me.
Okay.
We do have the chili cook-off this weekend, so we're getting ready for that. But besides that, that's all I had.
Good luck.
Hey, thank you guys.
Got everything under control that you need then?
As of now.
Okay, all righty. It's always an exciting time out there for chili cook-off. It's a pretty good deal. All right, moving on.
Yeah.
And before you end the meeting, I had
But
three more
they're
things I
sending
thought.
the roof out.
I know,
Okay.
but just letting you know,
At the peak.
after Bragg, before
peak.
you're all done,
Okay.
I can tell you some more stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, the peak shall come out to the end of the rail.
That's all, would that be a kind of quick update? Is that how we
You
okay.
betcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's right, yeah. Oh, that's all the way around.
We got that.
There's two sides.
5,000.
Two sides, yeah. The peak's
See,
coming
it's
out.
what they are already.
Yeah, okay. I don't if they were on
Back
duty, but
again.
they are now.
Make sure I was up.
Make sure. It's a short
All right. Biggest thing, well, actually two big things. Obviously, I sent you an email last week about the cost share. I did not see that in there, at $1 million. They only have $8 million to play with this fall. So basically, our options are to pull the contract or pull the submittal, or we can go back and basically say that we will take $1 million of your money and we'll pay the rest. So that would be about a $1.6 million hit on top of what we were before, which I think is pretty difficult to do. And on top of that, I think even to say that we would get 1/8 of the money for this fall, I think we'd be hard pressed for that. So unfortunately, I think that's probably our option, just to go ahead and pull it and try to get something next time, but.
Is there a cap on the spring one, or do you have to wait?
No idea yet.
No idea.
Yeah, I think from what I heard at the meeting, a lot of this money is basically money that they've saved from other contracts or whatever else that they have sitting in a pot. Said, instead of us holding that or moving it off, we'll just turn it back and do this. So.
What happens if you're awarded it? Do you have to do the project, or you can turn it back?
We would not have to do it. But if we were awarded and turned around and said, no, we can't do it, they would turn around and give that money to somebody else. So.
And it's submitted just for that project.
Yeah.
You can't shorten it.
Well, I mean, there's several things we can do, and I don't really know what they will allow us to do. I mean, and regardless, they're going to just give us $1 million. Now, we could go back and not do, I mean, just to say to do less, I don't know what we can do much less, basically to that length of project.
No, there's miles. Can you shorten it?
Then again, pick where you want to work.
And you lose all your efficiency.
Yeah.
There's bad places all along.
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than, like, Indigo the same way. You know, the south part is worse, but all it needs it, so. But, yeah, like I said, she called me or sent me an email and then called me. I was like, man, I didn't see it. It was one line in the fact sheet that, so.
Fine print.
Yeah, but I think, I mean, like I said, ultimately, it's another $1.6 million hit on top of what we've got. I think that's kind of tough to absorb, but it's not impossible because so.
I'm sorry, I don't remember the total estimated project cost.
We were looking at $4 million, and so at the 60-40 split, they was already be it'd be 2.4 for them, 1.6 for us, so we would have to eat 1.4 million back to the county. So
It'd probably increase our chances just to wait.
I really think so. Like I said, if there's only $8 million out there, it's pretty tough to say that
Yeah.
we'd get an 1/8 out of that. But then again, you never know. But I'm sure every other time they've had tens of millions of dollars worth of applications again, and trying to figure out where to put it. So.
What exactly was put 2 inches, 3 inches? Or
This was, I believe, it had a 2-inch overlay.
2-inch overlay?
And I think we're just, might have to do some patching, stuff like that. I talked about maybe adding some shoulders or something in some areas, but that's why I get a little extra money. Now, again, I could dial it back and just do the overlay, but I mean, we're still looking at,
If you're gonna do it,
$2.5, $3 million, of which we're gonna pay anything over $1 million.
And you have to let them know when.
It was actually due last Friday, but they called me and said, hey, they had $1 million cap, so.
Any fantastic ideas how to jump forward here? Other than pulling it back?
Did you ask them if they didn't see our second application? For the other million?
Yeah, I'll see how far that goes, yeah.
Do you have till maybe Thursday to tell them or not?
I mean, basically the only thing she said was, if you want to continue, I just need a letter from you saying that you would accept the $1 million maximum, and the rest was on us. That's all she really said, other than obviously pulling the projects.
Because I was just gonna
Can we
suggest.
fix the bad places and chip seal it for that?
Well, that's gonna be a lot less money. And I guess the other options is, do we go back and say we're just gonna blade patch, or do we go in and mill out some bad areas and?
Well, I'm
use
just
hot mix
wondering,
patch? I mean, we
would
could,
$1 million pay to do that?
it would go a darn sure a long way to do most of it.
I mean, Dave and I spent quite a bit of time
Yeah,
getting letters
I-
from constituents, and
Sure.
I explained the program just the way I thought it was.
Yeah, me too, but
And we had, so you'd actually be looking at spending 2.4 million
3
in the best, or 2.6.
That would be $3 million.
million.
Well, we were originally 60-40 split. We were gonna
Right.
spend
We were
100.
we were gonna spend 1.6 million.
Yes, so
So,
take that with $1 million, so we got
We
2.6,
just doubled it.
2.6 make a big difference. Right.
$4 million job.
Right.
And we were asking for 2.4 from them.
Right.
So we'd have to take the 1.4 back. So now if we did,
So now our total budget,
Would be
we
$3
got the $1
million.
million plus the money that we were originally expecting to put in, 1.6.
oh, gotcha.
Now we're at 2.6. How much do you get
And
done?
we'd be at 3.
3.
So we'd be another, at least 600, well, no, we'd have to pay an extra 1.4 million based on what we were planning on. If we did the $4 million.
Yeah, saying if you scaled some things back or did something. The county's not spending any more money than we were going to.
I hate not to apply for the $1 million.
And we take the $1 million.
If we think we can make a big enough improvement to
Well,
call it
that's-
an
The
improvement.
same thing on following up what you said, the sales pitch was an asphalt overlay. And if we go back with the chip seal, I'm gonna apply.
Yeah. But I mean, if that would carry us a couple of
Buy us a
years to
couple of
where we
years.
get to that, then
True.
at least it would be an improvement for everyone that's.
But then what are our odds of 1 in 8?
Yeah,
Out of 100?
our odds are still pretty low.
That's what I'm still trying to roll the dice for the bigger, yeah. For the
How
bigger
much political
improvement.
power do you have?
How much do I have?
Yeah.
If you're gonna use it for 2.6, not for 1.
Well, I mean, that's, you know, I could change the scope, see if that would be okay. And get-
I'm just asking the commission, would we be helping ourselves by doing that if we can get the $1 million? It might give us a little more time, that would be, well, it'd make the road better, so it,
Right. It's a short-term fix. then.
yeah, short-term fix with the idea that down the road, we're still gonna try to do the same project. Cause I hate to not apply for something when we went through
I know.
the issue with everybody and explaining what we were after and getting the correspondence from them, because it was, we had to do it pretty quick. I mean, I literally had to tell people,
Yeah, yeah.
I'll be up in the morning, you
Yeah.
know, and this was on Thursday evening.
Yeah.
Again, a long range for grants. Okay, we got a road grant a year ago. Okay, just this last bridge, when there were, what, 87 applied, 13 got it. Well, if you got the last round, you're probably not gonna get the next round. I mean, if we get the $1 million, then we know we're not
No, I'm
gonna get
talking,
anything next
yeah,
year.
I'm talking about, can we fix the road good enough to hold it for 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, but we're not gonna get any other grant money for a couple of years.
No.
Yeah.
But if we wait and hit it again next year, we'd have a pretty good, I'd say we'd have a pretty good shot at it. Unless there's another cap in the spring.
If they're gonna keep putting that $1 million cap in there,
Well, and again, from what it kind of sounds like, this money is just whatever they have available at the time, and,
it may not have any available next year.
That's true.
and something that I did see, came out, one of the things at the NINC was we had the executive director of the NACE there talking about this new the new funding bill and everything else, and was talking about that. Well, one of the things that came out of that was that, Marion County was fortunate you did your, local road safety plan back in 2018. Because the federal government was basically paying for all of that. Next year's the last year of that. Federal government isn't gonna pay for that anymore. So, it's like anything else, that, you know, that money's out there, but when they decide to pull it back, it's gone.
It's gone.
So, well, like I said, I could come up with some other alternatives or whatever else and find out, you know, what they would allow. I don't know if they would allow a change in scope or whatever else. And just get back with you and.
I guess not to apply for it if it's there.
Ask the question, I guess.
And I mean, we.
And then we know.
Yeah, we did get the application in, but, you know.
You changed the whole
Yeah.
project.
So let me just find out about that and see what other options are.
So you do understand what I was saying, though? We were planning on spending 1.6.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so if we still spend 1.6 and get awarded $1 million.
Yeah.
That gives us a budget of 2.6.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, let me do some more checking on that and,
I thought we was planning on spending 2.6, still 1.6, if it's $4 million project.
yeah, it'd have been 1.6 plus a million, been 2.6.
We were planning on spending 2.6.
Yeah, when originally you started, because 60-40, 60% us, 40% them.
No,
No, other way around.
60% feds.
60% feds, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So they were planning on 6.
Yeah. Anyway, so let me find out. I have not heard from Tina any response to the crushed rock. You haven't received anything either? Okay. They were gonna get back a response to it, and I haven't everything, so. We are, chip sealing down on 40th, 60th and Timber now. Gonna go down and do burns. Will probably take us at least the rest of this week, barring any rain, so we'll have to see what happens. And then, starting after that, I'm guessing we're probably just gonna go have to go back and do blade patching. We've got Indigo, 120th, 150th, Kansas, whatever else. We're probably gonna have to get away from emulsion, basically goes just a straight cut back or whatever else, asphalt, so it'll allow us to work that. But, we're to the point of, we've gotta get some patching done here this year too, so. I guess last thing, a major thing, I heard this morning that, I may be losing my last truck driver now. And, I'm just, I don't know what to do. I mean, no truck drivers, I mean, we're gonna have to contract everything, I mean, not everything, but for the most part, you know, I've got my equipment operators running equipment. So anyway, they're leaving for more money and they're still getting benefits, getting insurance paid, so, I know it's a tough pill to swallow, but, I don't know what the answer is. I think a lot of people were expecting more with this pay plan that we got, but it is what it is, and I said, you know, that's what the commissioners have been obligated to give, and that's what we have. But anyway, so like I said, it's very, very difficult times when that's what we're facing. So I'm obviously a little concerned about snow removal this wintertime, if we end up with a bad one, because it's, you know, and I can tell you when I talked to KDOT here, they had a meeting or 6 weeks ago. They had a meeting that out of the 90 trucks available in the district, North Central, they had enough people to staff one 12-hour shift, and for the second 12-hour shift, they could only fill 30 out of the 90 trucks. And that includes construction people too.
KDOT staff.
Yeah. And so it's not just us, you know, but it's everybody.
Supply chain's shorted everywhere.
Yeah.
So you can't get none of your products, so everybody's paying top dollar for a truck driver.
Yeah.
To get over the road.
Yeah. So, but anyway, like I said, there's nothing emergency we can do, but I mean, this operator asked me what I could do for him, and I said, I don't know what I could do for him, but I could do for anybody else. It's, you know, we're all in this group together, so.
I think we've been moving toward contract hauling for the last 3 years. Just maybe we thought it wasn't gonna hit quite that fast.
Basically hit within the last 2 months, but yeah. And that just means we're just going to be more and more diligent on, you know, the trucking and budgets, so. But other than that,
And how many graders are you short?
right now I'm short 3, and by the middle of next month, probably 4. So,
Sections
yep,
that don't have, people
Yep.
don't have assignments.
yep,
Okay.
yep. Which may lead us to the point is that we may not hardly touch dirt roads at all, just trying to keep the rock roads in good shape. You never know with moisture and other requirements like that, but, so, we're very, very minimal.
Is there, have you ever seen in counties, kind of weird, I think, in the road and bridge, but where they would come across county lines to pick up areas for you, then you could reduce your area.
There's,
They used to oil a road, Morris County did it.
yeah.
Lost
We-
Springs.
Yeah, we can do that, but I don't know if, because I know, McPherson County's township,
Right.
Butler County's township, I believe also. Dixon
I wonder
Town,
if
so,
if they were willing to come in and pick up, that would get you more centralized.
the problem is I don't know what they would be able to pick up that would make a significant difference for us. I mean, a couple miles may be okay, but I just,
A
because that's.
couple miles all the way around. it adds
Well,
up.
right, but I mean, that's adding to them also,
Township.
yeah. But anyway,
And decisions we made maybe 5, 6, 8 years ago might affect something when you go ask somebody to, Bryce. I mean, I'm just saying that because at one time they wanted to offer to, what you just talked about, the Burdick Road. They wanted to do that, and then we had things already lined out, and I don't know whether that made people mad or feelings mad or hurt some feelings.
Well, we figured we were in the area and we could do it cheaper than they
Yeah.
could at the
So,
time, so
I don't
it didn't make sense.
Yeah, so it may affect something too, that we turned it down once, you know.
I don't know, but anyway, I think everybody's facing the financial crunch, so, anyway, I didn't have anything else, so I gotta get up to a pour, we're making the last pour on the culvert up here on 290th today. So by the time we get that here and get it stripped and backfilled, probably another month, we should have it open. No later than that.
Oh, 290.
290, yeah.
Yeah. They got the pour today?
They're pouring the wing walls today, otherwise the deck and everything else is poured, so poured that last week.
To end on a good note, lots of comments in Remington,
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah, a lot. Yeah.
very positive
Yeah,
comments.
Yeah. It sounds as though everything went very well.
Yes.
They didn't have as many people as they were expecting, and the people that were there, it turned out great, so. Good thing to do, so.
The road was good.
All right.
Nothing to you, Bryce, but our contract with that company out of Wichita, does that stop? $5,000, does that stop effective when it's over with here? Or is there more to this contract later on? There's nothing to do with you, Bryce.
This is our
Consultant.
Are you talking about the planning consultant?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I thought it was for, not just for this event, but for
Right.
ongoing. I'd have to double check the minutes.
Because honestly, I don't know
I
if
think
they
it
really
was
done
kind of
anything.
No, at this point,
ongoing
absolutely.
thing.
Okay, is it?
No, it's for long.
Well, from what I understand, just talking to people, they were gonna see how this turned out and the attendance and stuff like that, maybe to plan on possibly what could be in the future. I mean, if we had 100,000 people show up and they said, oh, man, you know, but, or if it's, but I also heard that, there was a lot of people that basically got talked out of showing up here because they didn't want it to be anyway, so.
Because it is gonna be back in Wichita, something down
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow and Wednesday, so, but, so, okay.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, commission discussion on the health department. I do have some information I'd like to pass along to.
Did you get a health update, the numbers?
Facebook.
Facebook.
Um,
20 minutes probably would probably be something for health department. And I would think maybe 20 minutes for executive session, or if you want to start with 15, and maybe just go with 15 and then see. No, I'm gonna stick with 20. Stick with 20 minutes. Anybody else have anything to add to that? I mean, discussion today on health department?
4 hours ago, health update.
No. Yeah, you got
The
something?
most I got is 73 active, 5 hospitals, and 26 confirmed deaths.
So we've gone up with hospitals.
Hospitals and actives.
I could say about the same.
Deaths creeped up too, since this new wave.
Yeah, it was 24.
24 at the end of the old wave.
Tina, Brad, we're going in for health department. We're going for executive session. Is that for to discuss the employment interview?
You could do it for hiring. I think you're probably also gonna need to do one separately then for personnel performance.
Okay.
So you may wanna do two shorter ones.
Okay. Let's go to 15 minutes then for employment.
For hiring.
Yes.
So it's a hiring discussion, and it would be under number 1 for personnel matters
Okay.
of non-elected personnel.
Okay, and move we recess into executive session in order to discuss hiring hiring personnel pursuant to KSA 75-431-9B for personnel matters of non-elected personnel with the board, Brad and Tina, for 15 minutes. That will be from 2:03 to 2:18. That's my motion.
Second.
Second by Jonah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Babu. No, nothing's done. I should have stuck with my 20.
Team hauled around.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, out of executive session, nothing decided there. We will go back in for same thing for 5 more minutes for executive session for conduct a employment interview or employment.
To discuss hiring.
To discuss hiring personnel, under personnel matters of non-elected personnel pursuant to KSA 75-431-9B for 5 minutes with the board, Brad and Tina. That's my motion.
Second.
Second by Jonah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
2:20, 2:25. We'll be back on. Okay, Tina.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, have executive session, no decisions made. We will go ahead and take personnel, executive session for personnel performance. For how many minutes, Tina?
Could we do possibly 15 minutes?
15 minutes, okay. I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss personnel performance pursuant to KSA 75-431-9B for personnel matters of non-elected personnel with the board, Brad and Tina, from 2:28 to 48, 2:43, 2:43. 15 minutes? Yeah, better do it. 2:43.
Okay.
Second.
All those, second by Jonah, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5 votes.
Another executive session.
How many?
15.
15.
Okay, just 1 second here.
Same topic?
This conference will now be recorded.
Out of executive session, no decisions, we're gonna go right back in for another 15 minutes for the same thing. I move that we recess in executive session in order to discuss personnel performance for personnel matters of non-elected personnel pursuant to KSA 75-431-9B. That's my motion, with the board, Tina and Brad. That's my motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Who got it then? I didn't.
Kent.
Kent got it? Second. All those in favor say aye.
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 And you did say 15 minutes in your
Yes,
motion?
15.
Okay, thank you.
Out of executive session.
I'm sorry.
Haven't heard it.
This conference will now be recorded.
Now you're on. Okay, sorry.
Out of executive sessions, no decisions. We do have some salary changes for 2 people in the health department. This is for, during vacancy of our health department director, we are having some people step up to take over the assigned additional duties during vacancy of the health department director. So I will read you those, the raise that we will give them. Jessica Gilbert from 1613 to 1781, effective 9/21 of 2021. Wanda Manicum from 2525 to 2816, effective 9/21. This is for additional duties during the vacancy of the health department director. And also Wanda will receive from the bioterrorism grant there's $300 a month paid to the health department director to carry a cell phone, who's on call 24/7. And sometimes they pass that around a little bit there, but right now Wanda will be the one in charge, and she has the qualifications for it. So that's the two people, that's the three different things that we've done with the vacancy of our health department director.
Do you feel comfortable me giving my little clerk update while you're signing?
Yeah, go ahead.
So on the table you had the pulse from the health department, so that's just a little update on what's going on, flu clinics, etc. The annual senior citizens dinner is Thursday, October 21st here in Marion, and the cost for that is $5.25 per person. I will need to have your, I need to get you registered if you want to attend that. And they're only inviting the commission, they're not inviting any other department heads because of, they're limiting the size of this year.
What day is that on?
It's a Thursday, October 21st.
At noon?
At noon, yeah, right here in Marion.
Put me down for it.
Okay. And Chairman, would you be willing to
Yep.
give the welcome?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll put you down. And- Okay.
You'll remind us, won't you?
Yes, and then I'll be hitting you up for the money. I'll be hitting you. Are you gonna be able to attend? Okay.
Might have to think more, just remember.
Jody, you wanna let me know?
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention is just an update about the exterior work that they're doing.
Oh, okay.
They're just about finished. I think tomorrow or the next day they'll be done. They still have they've done the patching, you know, taking out below that north entrance, and they've patched that all up. Quite a bit more extensive patching than they were expecting. And they've sealed the cracks on these west stairs. There's a little bit, a couple areas that we're gonna have them repair over there yet, that we noticed. So that's moving right along. Something else that has been coming up regularly is our elevator. It continues to break down about once a month right now. And the technician was here, and basically he's recommending, the part that's going out on the elevator is something they don't make anymore because our elevator is older. And so just want to give you a heads up that I'm gonna, you know, we're gonna have to be planning a new elevator. So,
Just the lifting mechanism, right? You know, like slide, well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what, the guide rails should all be good, the cab should still be good.
I don't know what,
Okay.
sorry, I don't know the exact specs of exactly what we're gonna need, but what's having a problem is the doors, the parts that move the doors. They don't.
That's the
Mhm.
box.
Yeah, so it might be a new,
Yeah.
Won't get
Actual
anybody
elevator.
stuck in there.
so we've had to take it out of service
If-
once a month, probably for the last 3 months, so.
If a person goes and sits down in the break room I come in there once in a while, eat down the break room over noon hour, you'd be surprised how many people use that elevator.
Yeah.
I mean, especially.
It's
there's
busy,
A lot of
yeah.
people, yes.
Yeah. That's it. I just wanted to give you an update on that and prepare you for the fact that I'm probably looking at getting some quotes on that, based on what they recommend.
Okay. What else do we have for today?
First update, 21st. You guys have been coming back.
You all had,
KBC On the 21st?
they'll be back, because you guys set a meeting for the 20th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could always move that to the 21st. And then just go to lunch after the meeting, because you set it at 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
On the
I guess we're all
20th.
obligated to be there.
And then I'm gone that morning, so I'd have to have someone sit in, because I'm still like, I'm gonna be at
Sure.
KAC just that morning
Okay,
for my clerk's meeting, so.
does that sound all right?
Yeah. Well, why didn't we put it there in the first place?
I don't know.
There's gotta be a reason,
I
right?
think there's,
We have a month.
everybody with that, move it?
20th to the 21st?
Yeah, move it one day later?
Was that a 9 o'clock or was that?
That was a 9 o'clock, you set that as a 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Dave Crowfoot, is that okay?
All
Yeah,
right, you did that by motion, so if you could do a new motion, that'd be great.
I would move to move the October 20th meeting to October 21st at 9 AM.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Jonah. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0.
Okay,
Say
I'll
your
be
motion.
there.
alrighty. So you gotta be done by noon on that day.
Well, we can come back in after.
we can adjourn.
Oh, that's true, you could recess for lunch. Okay,
All right, Ken, is that taking care of most of your?
yes,
Brad,
I had a lot, sorry.
You haven't spoke up today too much, so we need to.
I thought I had.
No, not enough.
Okay.
We need to.
Yeah, I need a little guidance in terms of, I had sent you some time ago a kind of a skeletal list, which has a lot of specificity, not necessarily noted in it, several directives and things that we need to go over. They aren't 15-minute items. They never are with me, and you know that.
Yeah.
So as a rule, you're probably looking at an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and I've been reluctant to ask her to put me on this regular agenda because I never know how far it's going to go, and up to now, you've had enough with budget and other things. Whether you want to do those in specials or in morning kinds of settings, or do them here and just say, well, we'll crunch through what we can, knowing that we're going to be here a little later. It's up to you. I've got several policies that really, they're a draft form that we need to discuss in detail, and some ramifications of how we do them with alternatives. A bunch of other pieces and different projects that have been ongoing that didn't necessarily need your input per se, but they do as time goes along. Some strategic management and planning kinds of things that need to be discussed. So it's a fairly healthy list, and it keeps growing. That doesn't really cover much anymore. So I'd like to know how you want to do that. Like you have the end of month one, like this week, you've got Thursday, to bring a couple of things, and then that's in the morning at 9, isn't it?
Yes.
I have to change a meeting, but that's possible. October the 4th, ironically, I'm hoping I have freed myself up. There was a court appearance that a judge wasn't willing to move, but I think we may have solved, I hope. But other than that, the Mondays are generally always available. You can do it another day a week if you want. You tell me.
With the 10:30s on Mondays, we're having just a ration of those over and over.
Knocking some stuff out.
Well, yeah, it was doing good, so just
And that would work too.
10:30
know,
Monday.
yeah. Because I have a 9 o'clock, but I'm done by 9:30 typically, so that lets me get over it.
Bettina has some lunch
And
break.
then 10:30 till
I don't have any in my.
Yeah, on the 12th,
Hey,
on the 12th, that's a Tuesday, we have, the 11th of October is a holiday. 8 o'clock in the morning will be Susan Burke's swearing in that morning. And then the Friday, the 8th, the previous Friday is Janine's retirement reception, so just keeping that in mind.
Okay, but our meeting on the 12th, 12:30, or?
On the 12th, it's at 12:30, yeah.
Okay.
But her swearing, we haven't updated this.
Okay. So it shows 9.
Right, because we
Okay.
did this whole calendar a year in advance.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
is there a meeting on the 4th?
Well, if we have a swearing in on the
Yeah.
12th at 8.
You
said,
could change your meeting time on the 12th if you wanted to.
Would either that or we schedule in a work session into that day?
Yeah, scheduling a work session on the 4th at 10:30 and 12th at 10:30.
Well, how about if
Randy's
we're,
gonna be
if we're gonna,
gone to all those times.
here's just a thought, if we're gonna come to the swearing in, why don't we just get as much done on the 12th as we can? It just means we're gonna be here all day.
That's
This
a
morning, they
Tuesday,
reset several cases for me that day. On the 12th, I didn't anticipate the earlier. So they're starting at 8 on several cases in district court in Harvey County, so that may be.
Still wouldn't be,
Yeah.
sorry.
not gonna work.
But normally that would work. I mean,
We just
can make
pick it up on the
those-
18th then.
Yeah, and then I could just distribute quite a bit of stuff in advance stuff for you to review.
But there is no meeting on the 18th because of KAC. That's the
Oh.
one you just moved to Thursday.
That's right, this is,
21st.
whatever, one of those days I got, I did get that county council.
Wow.
thing squared
But
away.
have you
What's-
so
what's coming on
confused,
the
he won't know if
21st?
he's coming or going.
What's the schedule?
The 25th?
October,
No, not me
October?
too.
Yes.
We may miss a point of prayer.
Right now, I've got just a brief review at 9 AM. After that, the day's open. No, it's, oh, I'm sorry, that's on Friday. That
21st
Thursday.
is Thursday.
Yeah, would be open.
21st of October is open to do what you were just talking about, Ken, to have a,
Do the stuff in the morning and then have the regular meeting.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So are you talking about doing a work session in the morning and then regular meeting at 12:30? Or,
I guess so,
Isn't that what?
that's fine, but you just made a
We just
motion
made
to
a
hold your
motion.
meeting at 9 o'clock, so
Yeah.
we just need a new motion.
Okay, well, we can reverse
Do the
it.
work session in the
After.
afternoon.
We can do the.
Yeah, whatever
Yeah,
you want.
however
Yeah.
you want to do that.
And come back for that.
Yeah, we've already approved the 9 o'clock meeting, so.
There you
go.
there you go.
So then you could just add a work session
Work
to
session,
the
yeah.
end of the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one heck of a work session right now, let me tell you.
I know, so-
We could just knock out a couple of them right now. So, yeah, let's do that then on the
That's the
21st.
21st and 25th. Want to just book that right away? Do a work session in the morning of the 25th?
No, oh, the 25th.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not gonna get everything done in this one day. And we're like, maybe 3 months worth of Mondays.
Could well be. The way
3
this
months
list
with
is.
him.
3 months worth of Mondays.
With him.
You asked. You said I hadn't said enough.
Okay. guys, I
Yeah,
didn't
we need
realize
to have
I was
land
sticking my
bank
foot in.
meeting.
That's
why
why
he
he giggles every time you say, I give you a directive.
Yeah.
He giggles, he goes, wait till he comes back.
So are we putting a 10:30 work session on the 25th, or are we ready to do that today?
I think we ought to.
Yeah,
Just
let's
start.
do those two as a starting point.
Okay.
Okay,
Try to at least start coming down.
Yeah,
Maybe get in the habit of doing.
I get an idea of how much of a pace to set them at, how many to set at a time.
Okay.
It would be 10:30.
Yeah,
No, the 21st.
Monday is the
21st is 9
10:30.
o'clock on that Thursday.
And then the
Oh, that's right.
afternoon, we got with Brad. The 25th is, we got the morning with Brad.
At 10:30.
Afternoon meeting.
Afternoon.
Well, Brad, I'm glad you spoke up, but that just tickles me. To gives us a good outlook for life here. And,
I knew that it would just brighten your day.
and so.
Which is why you said, really, that much? Yeah, that-
Lunch on the 25th.
I mean,
Yeah.
we had to miss
Shrimp.
You've got stuff on shrimp.
I really do.
Oh, it's shrimp.
I'm figuring, you know,
like
that's
some
Many
mini lobsters.
people's turn.
That'd be good too.
Is there any other
There's plenty
discussion
for
before I
30
get into
days.
public comments?
Some of the weed stuff.
I don't hear none, so I'm moving into public comments.
Is it weed stuff?
Tina, do you have anything on?
I do not.
Yeah, you do not? Okay.
Drink into it.
Final thing of the day is commission comments. Do I hear any? Don't hear any. Tina, do you have any comments?
No.
All right, I move that we adjourn. Second. Second by Jonah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.